everyone, and welcome to Stampin' Chat Live. I'm Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you coming in from all around the world. Well, my goodness, a decent portion of our audience is actually probably sheltering in their basement tonight because there are some massive storms all the way down in Texas, all the way up through the middle of the country and going right across to the East Coast. So I'll tell you, we are under a severe thunderstorm and tornado watch. Thunderstorm warning. It's actually pouring right now. So if anything happens to our live stream tonight, it's only going to be because we lost power of some sort. But we are here in our studio because luckily in our studio we have fiber, which is the fastest, best internet that you can get. So hopefully we're coming in loud and clear for you guys. So tonight we're going to have fun because I'm going to show you a few more tips and tricks using 3D embossing folders. I have a couple techniques that I want to share tonight that I think will be really fun, and I didn't get to share them on Thursday when we released that special bundle. Now, some of you have asked about the bundle, and will we be bringing those embossing folders in as individual embossing folder bundles or that one that was just a standalone? And yes, we are going to reorder all of those, and they'll be in about 5 months or so, hopefully a little sooner. We'll see. But we are going to bring those back because they were very popular, and a lot of people had particular ones that they really wanted. So we're going to bring them all back, but they'll be available as separate bundles, so you can pick and choose the ones that you want. Now, before we get started tonight, let's say hello to Tom. Hey, Tom.
Good morning, evening, afternoon from the root cellar.
From the root cellar. Seriously, can you hear the rain?
I can.
Yeah, it's coming down really hard right now.
Pounding down. And isn't it wonderful to have plenty of fiber?
We've got a lot of fiber in our system, don't we?
Yes, we do. Surrounded by fiber.
Well, hopefully the fiber will keep us going.
Yes.
Keep things moving tonight.
Yes, hopefully.
All right. Well, Tom, I have some techniques I think you're going to like tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't catch a sneak peek of too much, so I am, yeah.
You ready?
I'm waiting with everybody else.
All right. Well, I'm going to show you a couple of different techniques using any 3D floral embossing folder that you have. So if you want to play along or if you want to try these techniques, don't worry about having the same folder that I have. Just pick a floral one that you like and, you'll be ready to go because these work great with any of the florals you have in your collection. But I am going to show the one embossing folder that I didn't get to show from the bundle that was just released, and I'm also going to show the 3D embossing folder from our most recent card kit because lots of you have that card kit and you have that bundle, and that's a fun one to use as well. All right, so why don't we start with, let's do one with the new folder, the one that was released on Thursday, and that's this one right here. So this one is called Blossom Trio. It was in that 3-pack, and this one I did not get a chance to show you guys. So I'm going to do my first technique using this one. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of cardstock, and I'm going to just grab a piece of cardstock that I can kind of like tape this down on just to keep it safe because I want to do some wood graining on here. So I'm going to put a little bit of tape runner back there, and then the colors I'm going to use for this are, let's see, I'm going to use some Craft. I'm also going to use some warm cocoa. I'm going to use a little bit of Tranquil Teal, and then I'm going to mix in some white pigment ink and some dark chocolate. Now you could use dark chocolate, or maybe we'll even use, no, we'll use dark chocolate for that. Okay, so first we're going to do our wood graining. All right, so I'm going to take this Craft ink pad. Oh, and just a big shout out to Brianne Loveland. Brianne, thank you so much for being here tonight. We appreciate all your help. Brianne is our link ninja, and she'll help you find anything that you see tonight. If you can't find it, you can just shout out to Brianne, and she'll be sharing the links throughout the night. All right, so I'm going to be using our craft ink pad, and I'm going to just do some big strokes of craft down this cardstock here, just kind of creating some texture with the craft. Then I'm going to go to warm cocoa, and I'm going to add some darker streaks in here. I'm going to turn it just so that we have some darker areas. Okay. Then I'm going to add a little bit of tranquil teal into this. All right, so I'm going to just put a little tranquil teal in here just to make it look a little bit like aged wood. That just gives it a really cool look. Okay, now I'm going to take this off of this piece of cardstock, and then I'm just going to use my finger and I'm going to rub away a lot of this tape runner just to get it off of there so it doesn't get stuck to my embossing folder. There we go. And for anything I can't get off, I'm just going to take my embossing magic pad, the little dust bag that we use for embossing, and that just gets rid of any sticky so it won't stick to my, my 3D folder. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the intricate in, and I'm going to turn this to the 2D, which is the letterpress setting, because the instructions for the intricate are right here on these folders, on the instructions. So I'm turning the dial to 2D, and then it says to turn the tension dial to 3, but I'm finding for this one, I'm gonna go tighter to -3. I'm gonna take space away between the rollers, so I'm going to -3. And then I'm going to grab the platform for the intricate and that 3D folder. Sorry if it gets loud in here, that's the rain hitting the roof. Sorry about that. Okay, so now I want to make sure that I have the bumpy side flat here like this, and the indented side, the recessed side, on top, because I want my design to be pushing forward. And I'm going to pop this into the folder. Okay, so now I'm going to send this through. There we go. No, it's rain. That's what you hear. There's no like anything else, but it's really, really coming down hard. Okay, so now that is really hard to see. You can see it on the back. I've got a nice impression, but it's very hard to see here. But that's okay, we did it right. Okay, now, next I'm going to go back to that brown piece of cardstock here, and I'm going to take my white pigment ink, and then I'm going to take a sponge dauber that has some white ink on it. It's got some other colors on there too, but that's okay, it won't hurt my white pad. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to gently start to rub white over this flower, and you're going to start to see the flower emerge through this wood grain.
That looks ghostly.
Isn't it cool? Isn't that so cool and beautiful? And you still see some of that wood grain through it, but the white just brings it out. And instead of using a blending brush, I'm using a sponge dauber because I can do the lightest touch, and it's just going to hit the embossing. It's not going to hit anywhere else. So I can really bring out all of that embossing. It does. What should we call this, Tom? Ghost embossing? Since you said ghostly? Sometimes you actually have to look at the picture because it's so hard to see the impression through this design. but we're just bringing out that beautiful texture from the embossing folder.
Carol wants to know where you got your top.
My top, I think I got my top. This is a Stitch Fix top. I get most of my clothes from Stitch Fix. And if you're interested in Stitch Fix at all, if you go to my blog, you go to our website and click on blog, there's a little tab that says Things I Love. And I have a coupon code there for you where you can save, I think, $50 on your first fix. It's really fun. I've tried so many things that I would have never tried had I not been a member of Stitch Fix. I love it. I've been with them for years, and I love, 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 love their clothes. Okay, so there we go. Isn't that a cool technique?
Joanne wants to know, why not use the stencil with the white ink?
Well, you can. It's just there's so many different layers of the stencil. But if you want it to be a little bit more precise, you can do each layer with the white and it'll get even more precise. This is a little ghostly looking. It's got a little bit of white shading around the outside. And this leaf here, it's a little bit harder to see. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some dark chocolate ink. So you could stop here. This is a very ghostly, pretty look, but I'm going to get some dark chocolate ink, and I'm going to take a little bit of dark chocolate on my on a different dauber, and now I'm going to lightly go over this image, and it looks so nice because you have that white pigment ink under there. But you could try it without the pigment ink, but it just grays it up and it makes it look a little bit more matte. It's just a cool look. So maybe you just like the white, or maybe you like the brown. And depending on how heavy-handed you go, you can get it as dark as this. So I went really heavy-handed on this one. And I probably could go more heavy-handed. Let's go heavy. Let's go a little more heavy-handed. I'll tell you what, let's try it this way.
Well, you had more contrast in the other one.
Let's do it this way. How's this?
Oh, my.
Yeah. So I'm going to go direct to paper here. And I don't mind doing that because if I get a little bit of that brown onto the back, it's okay because it's wood-grained anyway, so it kind of looks like maybe it's supposed to be that way. You will get a little more streakiness on your backdrop by doing it this way, but you wouldn't see all the white parts of those flowers if we hadn't put the white down first, because we couldn't see any of that before, right? So you have to put that white down first to get this look. Isn't that fun? Let me go a little heavier there, a little heavier there. All right. Isn't that pretty? It's very woody and very natural looking, and it's wet still. You can see the shine, and that's because it's sitting on top of pigment ink, so it takes a little bit to dry. When it dries up, it'll dry more matte like that one. But isn't that fun? So it gives you a totally different look than what we've been doing with embossing folders, because with embossing folders we tend to do lots of bright, colorful looks, but sometimes you want this almost looks like, you know, some kind of like country carving that you would find on a really cool purse or something like that, you know, like burnished leather or something. So that's a fun technique to try, where you do the wood graining first, then you add your white pigment ink, and then you would go back over it with that real dark. And you could go even darker. You could go with black, so I'll put this one aside, but if you wanted to, you could even go over it with some black ink to really accent things. See how if you did another little layer of just a little bit of black on there, how that just brings out even more of the detail?
Reminds me of a very dense, kind of wet but cool summer forest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Patricia wants to
definitely.
know, how would you make a white wood look?
If I was doing white wood, I would do it on white cardstock and I would use a really soft gray because it's really, I mean, white wood, like white painted wood, just looks white. But if you want to pull in some of the grain, it has to look almost whitewashed. So I would use a real light gray, like a little bit of soft stone, maybe even go as light as our whisper gray. All right, so that's the first technique I wanted to show you. And here it is with the brown, and here it is with adding a little bit of black on top. Isn't that fun? Yeah, you could add any deep color you want on top. You could add a cranberry, like the dark cranberry. You could add a fresh asparagus if you wanted a little bit of green. You could do navy and have some blues in there, maybe blue denim. So yeah, experiment. Just, grab your embossing folders and just try this. You don't always have to use the stencils. And like the stencils, you don't always have to use the embossing folder. You can just do the stencils like I've shown you in other videos recently. All right, so, ooh, there's the thunder. Okay, so for the next technique, I'm going to use the other embossing folder that was in our kit. So for those of you that got the kit, you might have this one. And this is the one from our Spring Things card kit, and it's called Blooming Branches. So we're going to do a fun technique with blooming branches. So this is kind of like the blackout technique, but a little bit different because of the way we're going to add the color. So normally on the blackout technique, you would emboss your design, and then you would flip the design over, and you would color it in from the back. So let's say you wanted to make this flower yellow and you wanted to make this one orange and you wanted to make this one red. You would take a dauber or an ink blending brush and you would go right inside where it's recessed, right? Then you take a black ink pad and you drag it down on top and the flowers are colored. But I'm going to show you a twist on the blackout technique that I think is super fun. Okay, so we're going to get a piece of cardstock here. And we're going to get, let me get my, my sticky mat. I'm going to use my sticky mat here. Okay. All right, so Zeus is in the room. That's good. He probably heard the thunder and came in to be safe. All right, so we're going to do some bright colors. Is he in the basket? Oh,
See
little
the
boy.
ears?
Oh, yeah, there's the ears. Okay, so we're going to use some bright colors for this. So I want to use medium lilac. I want to use passionate pink. We could even use petunia. Maybe we'll use petunia. No, we'll use passionate pink tonight. And we'll use some turquoise sea. All right, so we're going to start with the medium lilac. Okay. And now I'm going to do some what I consider to be very bad ink blending. And I'm going to do this on purpose. My other inkstand, I cleaned the feet. So I'm going to do this so Brianne doesn't feel a need to send me an inkstand. All you have to do is clean the feet here with some alcohol and then they hold nice and tight. All right, so I'm going to do some what I consider to be bad ink blending, and we're doing this on purpose, okay? So we're going to start with a little bit of ink over here, and we're going to do a little bit of ink over here, just some bright blotchy color. A little ink over here, maybe some up here, like that, all right? A little more in there. Okay, then we're going to take, I feel like I want to use petunia. I'm going to use petunia. Petunia's a little brighter. You could see the difference between passionate pink and petunia. Petunia's like more vibrant, it's more hot pink. Passionate pink's beautiful, but petunia's got that little extra hotness to it. Okay. Stay safe, everybody. Just bring your phone down and watch the video in your basement. All right, now we're going to add some blobs of petunia the same way. petunia blobs. All right. And we're going to do some blobs of turquoise sea. All right, we'll get right in there. Ooh, this is going to be so pretty. I'm excited about this. And you just have to make sure that you've filled in most of the areas where your embossing folder is going to go. So we can take a look at that. And we can just lay that on top and make sure there aren't any white areas underneath where the leaves and the petals are going to go. So I'm going to fill that in a little bit right there. I think that looks pretty good.
Okay, technical question. Why are the flower petals on this stencil set all separate instead of being able to ink blend all at the same time?
Well, because when you have the petals separate, then you're able to create darker ink blending around the edge of each petal that makes them look more realistic. If you just had a big open space, you would just get a solid blend over the whole flower. But by doing the petals separately, you can create darkness around each petal, and that creates the depth and the dimension that you get from, I'll just show you on this one. See, if all of these were just one big flower, then you would just get all the same shading. You couldn't get those details that are in between like that. See how we got them here? You wouldn't be able to get those details in between the petals. So that's why we always want to have as many layers as we can possibly get, because the more layers you get, the more depth and the more realistic you can make your flowers. Okay, now what we're going to do is, and this is where it gets tricky, so you want to make sure that you're doing it in the right direction with the embossing folder. So what you want is you want to feel where all the flowers indent. Here they stick out, here they indent, and you want the indent part to be on the bottom. Because what you want to do is you want to push the design down into the cardstock. You don't want the image to be protruding up from the cardstock like in our last card. So you're looking for the dents to be here so that that top can sink down into the card. All right, and I'm going to put this on top, and now I'm going to put this on top of here. All right, so we're going to get the platform, and I'm going to send this through. I have it a little tight, but that's okay.
And a question from Cheryl. Will there be more videos done with more of the kit and release night products?
I don't make videos with my illustrators stuff. My illustrators, some of them make videos, and you can check out Melanie's YouTube channel and Lisa's YouTube channel. But I will be doing a couple more videos of the new kit. This is one of them right now that I'm using with this folder before our next release. Yes, for sure. Okay, so now you can see that's all dented in. See how that's all dented in? And this would be what we usually do, where it sticks out. All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take, I don't wanna do this on my sticky mat because I don't wanna put a ton of black ink all over my sticky mat. But I'm just gonna tape this down onto this piece of paper so it doesn't shift around. And then I don't have a date yet for the Master Layouts 21 video, but I will definitely be getting to that. All right, so I'm gonna be using the black onyx ink. No, I don't really wet my cardstock unless I'm getting cracking, but I didn't get any cracking on that. Sometimes I'll spritz it. Right now, because in Wisconsin it's so humid because of all the rain that we've had, my cardstock is really got a lot of moisture in it. But in the middle of the winter, I get more cracking because it's really dry here in Wisconsin. So depending on if it's dry in your area or not, you may need a spritz of water or you may need a spritz of alcohol if you prefer to do that. Okay, so now I'm going to take this black ink pad. I should put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing here.
That question brought to you by Legal Ass 17.
I like that. Legal ass. All right. Okay. So here we go. I see it. So now I'm going to just do like a rubbing motion here. And I'm going to start to bring in some black. Now, if your cardstock's still moving around, one little trick is just get a little bit of paper towel here and just kind of wrap your finger in paper towel so that you don't get black all over your finger, because I get black all over me when I do this technique, but I love the technique. So
Could you use a brayer for this technique?
You can. Sure you can. Now I want it to touch a little bit of the design because I want to get the detail. So I don't want it to be so like pressureless that I'm not getting any of the little details, like the veins of the leaves and the centers of the flowers. But I don't want to go too hard where I get too much black into the design. Isn't this so pretty? So this is very much like the blackout technique, but instead of focusing color into the image before you do this, you're just doing blobs. And then you're going to go ahead and just kind of go over the whole thing. And it gives you a more colorful design. Isn't that so pretty? Wow. And then you can trim that down to size, add your greeting, and it's good to go. I don't think I got too inky on that one.
That would be neat with a white kind. You know how you usually use black?
Oh, like a white shadow layer
around
it? Oh, definitely, yeah. So we could trim that down. You know, and if you wanted to and you were really like, oh, I want to get every little bit in here, you could take a sponge dauber with a little bit of the black. This is my brown one, but I'll go ahead and add some black. And then, you know, you could focus on filling in any areas that didn't get totally covered. So you just don't want to press too hard. But you could fill in everything and get it completely blacked out if you wanted to. Just using a sponge dauber. You could also use one of the Tim Holtz tools. They're really good for this. But a dauber works great. And you can see it's just filling in. And if you'll notice, because of the smoothing agent in our ink, that black is getting smoother and smoother as it dries.
Any idea when the next release is coming?
At the end of the month. I think the date, I don't have a calendar in front of me, but I think it's like the 28th, I think. Okay. All right, so I filled in a little bit more there. That'll dry and that'll look pretty nice. So I love the bright colors, using those bright, vibrant colors underneath. And again, these embossing folder techniques, these particular ones, they're not the crisp layering stencil look. These are more rustic, right? Just like this one. Definitely a more rustic looking technique, but such fun things to try. Here's the one in black again. I like the black edges on that. You guys know that about me though, right? I like black edges on everything. Okay, so let me just clean myself up a little bit here for my next one, because the next one I'm going to end up turning it into a card. Okay. And if you have any questions about any of the techniques that I'm doing tonight, Tom will shout those questions out. And I will try to help you or show you closer what I'm doing. All right, let's go back to that first embossing folder again. This one, again, was the Blossom Trio, and this is the one that came in the bundle the other day on Thursday. I wanted to show you one more fun technique that you can do with this one, although you could, like I said, you can do this with any 3D floral embossing folder or anything. It doesn't even have to be a 3D floral. It could be a pattern 3D embossing folder. Whatever you want to use is totally fine. These kinds of techniques look so different when you when you do them with different types of folders. So when it's a floral, it has one look, and when it's a geometric pattern, it has some other kind of cool look. All right, so I'm gonna use a 1/4 sheet of cardstock here. No, actually I'm not. Well, I will for now, and then I'm gonna trim it down before I emboss it. Okay.
And what strength, weight cardstock do you use for this technique?
I'm using 80 pound. I've been using our layering weight for all of these. So this isn't very thick paper, but if you use thicker paper, it'll work. In fact, sometimes it looks even a little bit better if you use like our 120 pound white. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to do a very springy blend. So although I have ink here, I'm going to see what's left on this brush. This was the Petunia brush that I just used. I'm going to see what's left on here, and I'm going to do a little bit of a pink blend here going down this cardstock. Just a real light blend of pink, because I want this to be almost like a springy rainbow. Okay, just like that. Now I'm going to add a little bit of orange. So I'm going to use some sweet mango for this. Okay. So I'm going to go like right over the line there. Start over the line and then just let the bristles trickle down into my next color of my rainbow here. There we go. Looking good so far. And welcome everyone. It's great to see all of you here tonight. And I know a lot of our friends are going to be watching on replay because they are hunkered down in their basements and probably eyes glued to the weather in some parts of the Midwest. So for those friends, if you're watching on replay, welcome. I hope everything went well during the storm. We've got it going on here too. Okay, so I just added whatever yellow was on this brush, which I think is a little bit of wild dandelion. Okay, because I just don't want a real heavy blend. Now this one, this had some Lucky Clover on it. I'm not going to re-ink this brush. I'm just going to go ahead and whatever is on here, this is giving me that real light blend. So I'm not reloading the brush with any ink. I'm just picking up brushes and seeing what's left behind. Okay, so now I'm going to move to a turquoise color. So I believe there's some turquoise sea left behind here, but you can also use sea glass or ocean mist if you want to go a little bit lighter, like a lighter aqua color. Okay.
You didn't use yellow, did you?
I did.
Oh,
Yellow's
you did.
right
Okay.
here. Mm-hmm.
I was going to say that really blended well.
Yeah. I think it's just because I'm not like loading the brush right from the pad. I'm just using like whatever's on here. And now whatever's on this purple brush here, it's probably one of the lilacs. Because if I can recall, that was one of the last colors I used. We're just bringing that up into that turquoise. Okay, so now we've got a real pretty little rainbow blend. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put this into the embossing folder. I hope a lot of you are going to try these techniques. I can't wait to see what you do. If you're using Gina K Designs products, we'd love you to share them in our Facebook group. And if you're using products from other companies, post them on your Instagram account and tag me at Gina K Designs. This way I'll at least get to see them. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to feel for the bumpy part of this folder, because we want the bumpy part on the bottom, because we want to press the design out into the recessed part. And we're going to put our rainbow piece of cardstock into the folder. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm going to move it up or down just a little bit, because I want a little bit more of the pink, because I am going to trim this down a little bit, and I feel like I wouldn't have enough pink.
Christine wants to know if you were going to trim that first.
I'm going to trim it later.
Okay.
All right. So I'm sending that through. Okay. And now I've got the design there. You can see the design. It's a lot easier to see without all that wood grain texture, right? But it's pretty. Okay, so now, let me get this. Those are some sticky feet on the bottom of that intricate. That's what we like. Okay, so now I'm just gonna clean this sticky mat real quick with my tidy towel. And then we are going to accent this whole thing. I'm just getting the loose ink off. These will stain, but it's okay. It doesn't damage the mat or anything. The only thing that will damage the mat is if you try to clean it with anything but water and like a tidy towel. All right, so now I'm going to put this back on here, and I am going to get that first color. I'm going to go with a lighter color than Petunia, though. I'm going to go with Passionate Pink. I'm going to go with Passionate Pink. I want it to be a little bit lighter. And I want to see what's on this dauber. That looks purpley. Let me see if I have like a pink dauber. Let's see, this one might have been washed. Okay, I'm going to use this one. Even though it's purple, it's been washed, so there isn't any ink that's going to transfer.
And Lisa wants to know, how do you store your tidy towel?
I have mine just in a little Ziploc container. I've got like 4 of them in here. I always use a bunch of them so that I can just switch them out without having to run to the sink. Okay, so now I'm going to take this sponge dauber and I'm going to just lightly blend over the edges of this flower anywhere that there would be pink. See, I'm starting to accent that a little bit.
That is amazing.
Isn't that so pretty? Okay, now we're going to move to the orange. Oh, you see that? I put my hand right in a little bit of ink. Let me just rub it on my pants. Okay, now we're going to go to the sweet mango.
Viewers wondering, how do you wash the daubers?
Oh, I just rinse them. I just go to the sink and I rinse them, and I just rub my thumb over them and I squish them into the sink until they just run clear. I don't use any soap. Don't use soap. It takes forever to get the soap out. Water is fine, and then once they dry, you can just rub them on cardstock, and if there's any little residual ink, it will come off, but usually you get most of it out. But they will be stained. And I have a dauber for every color family. Okay, so now I'm going to go into this area right here with this orange and just touch some of the areas that have that orange ink.
And Scrap Mom wants to know, doesn't the tidy towel get moldy if you leave it in the wet container?
You know,
if you leave it in too long, sure.
Yeah, if you leave it in for a long time, it will, but I'm constantly using mine, so I use mine every day, you know. And
you rinse it out every day.
And I rinse it out every day, so. All right, so you can see what's happening here. I've got my pink going into my orange. So if your tidy towel is getting a musty smell, the prescription for that is you need to craft more. You're going to have to start crafting every day. The other thing that you can do is, it doesn't matter if it dries out completely. You could just let it sit and let it dry out. It doesn't matter. Or you can even poke some holes in the top of this to let some air through. Some people use like a salt cellar, like one of those, it has like a little flippy lid on it to store theirs. There are cases that some people make, like there's some 3D printed cases that some people make, and you could use those. But honestly, I use mine so much. And then I do throw them in the wash, like maybe once a week. I throw them in the wash just to get as much ink out as I can, but not in the dryer. All right, now I'm going to go to, what color is this? This is Marigold. I'm going to use Marigold. And I'm going to run some Marigold over the areas that are yellow. And I'm using a super light touch. But you can see it's really pulling that beautiful image out as you do this. All right, the next color I'm going to use is the Lucky Clover. So I do have a green dauber here. Isn't this fun? Okay.
So a question from Linda. I thought she always said trim before embossing.
For this particular technique, I wanted the full piece. You can trim before or after. It really depends. I always say that you should die cut first, then emboss, then stencil. And if you're not die cutting, then you want to emboss first and then stencil. But you can put this in a paper cutter and trim it. You may have heard that from somebody else. Maybe somebody else said to cut it first. I like to cut the paper down so it fits into the folder, but I'm not sure exactly what I want to use yet here. All right, so now I'm going to go in with some of this turquoise sea. Isn't that so nice when it grabs the edges like that? Oh, I love it. And now I'm going to add a color that we didn't really have in the mix, but because the purple and the teal made a powdery blue, we're going to use powder blue. So I'm going to use just a little powder blue in here, right here. More ink on there over the blue parts, and now I'm going to finish it off with some medium lilac. Now we're not done. This technique is going to get even cooler, or this card is going to be even cooler when you see what we're going to do next. All right, and so now we're using the lilac. Okay. All right. So now we've accented that flower. And if you feel like there's any parts, like maybe as I went down, my hand got heavier. So I'm going to go back over this passionate pink a little bit and just deepen that up a little bit, just to accent that a little bit more. And then I think I'm going to accent the orange just a little bit more. So don't be afraid to go back, and if you say, oh, I got too heavy-handed down here, just go back and be heavy-handed up here too. And sometimes it's a matter of the color, like maybe this orange isn't enough. You can add like a little bit of Tangerine Twist, which is a deeper orange. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. All right, now the next thing we're gonna do is we are going to trim a piece down first to the size we want it. We're going to trim one down to let's see. We're going to trim one down, which would be, we could use Master Layouts 21 for this, but I'm just going to hand trim it right now to 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 of an inch. That's also the same size as Master Layouts 2, so if you wanted to do this with stitching around it, you can. Let me just shut off my pump here for a second because that's going to annoy me for the rest of the live here. Okay. Switch. There we go. Okay. Now, I'm going to take this and I'm going to place it with the bumpy side right in the center of where I want this to be. All right. So that's where I want it to be, right about there. And then I'm going to go ahead and emboss this. Okay. I'm glad you don't hear the pump, but it's just beeping and it's just going to kind of drive me crazy, so I have to just turn it off for a little bit. Okay, so now we've got this beautiful embossed image. You can see how nice that embossed. Beautiful embossing there. Pretty on both sides. All right, and now what we're going to do is we are going to trim this. We're going to trim a panel down the center of this. So I want to get this in the center as much as possible. So this measures 4 1/4. So I'm going to take a 1/4 inch off of one side and a 1/4 inch off of the other side. Okay. Then I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch off because I want to get it to that 3.5 inch mark. So I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch off, and then I'm going to take it to the 3.5 inches. So that should be pretty close to the same spot if I centered it fairly well, which I think I did. Can you kind of see that it looks like it's pretty much in the same spot? Maybe a little over. It'll be a little off, but it's going to be okay. All right, now what we're going to do next is we're going to cut this down and we're going to take, let me measure here. I think we're going to take a 1/2 inch off on each side. So I think that'll look good. A 1/2 inch off on each side. That seems like a lot. Let's take a 1/4 inch off on each side. We'll take a 1/4 inch off. I'm just going up to the blade. Right now it's at 3.5, so I'm going to take this one down to 3 1/4. Then I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to take it down to 3. And I want to see where this falls on my cardstock. Okay. So that looks pretty cool, but I think I want it in just a little bit more. So I'm going to take a little bit more off. I'm going to take another 1/4 inch off each side. I know, it's so hard, right? It's hard to see it happen. Okay, there we go. So I've got a 1/4 inch off of each side there. And now I'm going to line this up where it looks right, where it all matches up. Okay? I'm going to line this up, but I'm going to do it with a little bit of tape runner because I don't want it to shift. I'm going to pull it back off in a second, but I'm going to line it up using my tape runner here. I want to make sure everything lines up where it should. Okay. There we go. Now, I'm going to cut the top and the bottom off. So I'm going to cut the top off because I know it lines up right. I'll make sure that I got it right. I do. I have it right. Okay, I'm going to cut the top off. And I'm going to cut the bottom off. Just that overhang part. Okay, so now it lines up there perfectly. And see how it just continues on? Yeah, you could definitely keep those strips and do something with the inside of your card. You know, I mean, that would be a beautiful design. Just to do something really pretty like that on the inside of your card. Or on the outside, on another card. You could use that and then do a focal image, like over it. It would be really pretty. We've got enough of them here. There's no reason to throw them away. And we can line them up better, too. So there's a lot of ways that you can do that. It's not going to line up perfectly because we're missing the whole center, but you get the idea, right? Got to have the pink going in the right direction. You could definitely do something like that across your card. Okay, but we'll put that aside for now because we're not going to do that right now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to measure this. We're going to pull this off gently, and we're going to measure this. So this measures 2.5. We're going to get a piece of black cardstock, and we're going to go to that 2.5 inch mark, and we're going to go up 1/8 of an inch. So that's 2 5/8. That's going to give me that perfect little black edge. Two 5/8, and we'll cut this off once we get this on there. We'll get the top perfect. Okay, so I'm going to place this on here.
So Diana is wondering, could you have just used masking magic to cover the sides and then inked for the same result?
Well, I wouldn't be able to get this black panel on there. And this black panel, to me, is going to add a little bit. This isn't very straight, though. Let me cut a new black strip here, because I have it on an angle a little bit, so it's not perfectly straight. Yeah, so you wouldn't be able to get the strip in there because it would all be one layer, and you need the 2 layers in order to be able to do this. So 2 5/8. Let's just cut it to 4 3/4 now, so we don't have to deal with that part. Okay. Let's see if this cut is better. You're in the mood for a rainbow? Me too. Always. Okay. Is my head in the way? Sorry if it is. Let me back up a little bit so we don't have to look at the top of my head while I try to. It's hard if you're not like right over it, you know, you kind of have to be right over it to see it go to the edge there. But I think this will be good. This will be good enough. Better than horrible. And then that's going to go and line up so that we've got that little shadow edge, but I've got to actually center this a little bit better. Let me do this off the camera so I can just line it up a little better with my head. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks a little better. We'll trim the top off of this. No, we'll trim it all when we have it on there. Okay, and now we're going to line this up in the center. Okay, got to line it up so that this petal looks right and this petal down here looks right. And that looks right. There we go. Now I can just kind of trim the top and the bottom to make it match. And we'll just get a nice even, there we go. Okay. So now everything, you see how that connects on the sides? If you masked it off, you could do it, but you wouldn't have the black edge. And you know me, I always have to have a little bit of black on every card. So that gives you a little bit of extension of that 3D folder. I love the way that looks. All right, now I'm going to trim down another panel to match that back panel. So it's going to be a little smaller because I did a little bit of extra trimming, but not much. Not much at all. So we could cut this out with master layouts too, but I'm just going to freehand it here. You can see the struggles I'm having with freehanding aren't that great. I mean, they're that's why I do like using the master layouts. But for tonight, we'll just do this, and we'll have a little bit of a wider border than normal. I'll trim this off a little because you can see where I had to trim the edges on that side a little bit to match. Okay. There we go. I think I'm almost done this tape runner. See, I'm down to the very edge here. The green, once the green shows, it's done. Luckily, I don't have to send Tom tonight to the warehouse because I remembered to get a refill pack. All right, Tom, so while I'm taping this all together, do you happen to have a word o' the day?
Do I happen to have a
word of the day? Oh, hey, hooray! Let's laugh it up. Don't delay. Word of the day, it's here to stay.
Okay, time for word of the day. I have an idea for a product.
You do?
And yes.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a breath freshener for close-talking trial attorneys. And it's the word of the... Anybody guess what it is? Can you guess what it is? What the name of the product is?
No.
Word of the day. Arguments. Breath fresheners for close-talking trial attorneys. Word of the day. Back.
Oh.
Zeus is not impressed.
He's not impressed at all.
Back to the dead space.
Arguments. Okay. Now we're going to find a card-based color that's going to work with this. And I think I'm going to go for Apple Mint. It's one of those colors that I feel like we don't use enough. And because it's right in the center of the card, I think that's going to be a really pretty card-based color for this. Another really great choice for this, if you don't want to take away from the rainbow, is to go with a gray. See how nice the gray looks? Because the gray is going to just allow the rainbow itself to just show through. So let's do a little poll here. And which card base color should I use? Apple Mint or Soft Stone? Let's do it. Okay, so let's see what you guys think. Apple Mint or Soft Stone? Oh my gosh, Apple Mint was like 100% for a second. Oh, it's still pretty far up there. So I don't think people like my Soft Stone suggestion, which is fine. I don't think I liked it that much either, to be honest with you. But yeah, we've got 83% going for the Apple Mint. So I like that too. I think that's a great color. Apple Mint is good. Okay, so I'm going to trim this down with my big paper cutter. So I'm going to end the poll Looks like almost everybody quick voted there. 83% apple mint. There's no way soft stone was coming back from that race. No way. Wasn't gonna make it. Not even worth it. If I had given it another minute, it wasn't gonna make it. And I'm gonna just go ahead and score this at 5.5 inches. And we'll pop that card base onto there. I had to make one card. I've been showing so many techniques that I haven't gotten around to actually turning one of these into a card. But I think that this is going to be a very pretty card. Now for a card like this, I feel like the greeting should be subtle. But I also feel like I'm going to play off of the black. So I did cut a sentiment strip because I feel like a sentiment strip is the right thing. So I used our mixed messages sentiment strips. And I've got this one with love and prayers. And by golly, that fits right across the center of that. That was not planned. But I'm just going to tack that right down onto this card using some adhesive here. So we have these pre-printed designs, these greetings, and with love and prayers as part of the mixed messages bundle. And you can get that. And then we have sentiment strips dies. So these are called sentiment sheets. And we have dies that will cut all the different sentiments out. And we've got lots of different options for those. So that's really a nice, kind of a nice sympathy card. And I think we'll add a little bling, but I don't think we're going to add blingy bling like black because this seems like it's a sympathy card. So I'm just going to add some really, really soft bling. So I'll put just a tiny little flat sequin, clear sequin here, one here, maybe one over here. I'll put 5. Put one here, and then I'll do one up here. That'll be a nice amount. And I'm using the Connect matte glue. We've got that on order again. That keeps selling out so quickly. Everybody's loving the Connect matte glue, which I understand why, because the Connect matte goes on white, dries clear and matte. So if you get glue on the face of your embellishments, or if you're gluing die cuts pieces together and you get it on the front, you won't get shiny marks. There'll be no residue left behind, which is so nice.
Gina, do we have a few kits left?
We do. We do have a few kits left. Just a few, actually. All right, so there is that finished card. And again, you know, seeing it in person with all of that embossing and how it's continuous into the ink blended part is really fun. And the little black layers in there really create that separation and make it look so pretty. So there's a few fun techniques that we haven't shown. I haven't shown these before. This one with edging that rainbow like that, just doing the rainbow blend first and then adding it on and having it be a continuous design. Also, this kind of twist on the blackout technique where you just add blobs of color in there and then add your black, or any dark color will work. And then this wood grained look where then you emboss over the wood graining, and you can do that either in black or you can do it in a dark brown like this. This just it reminds me of leather. Like I could see a gorgeous leather purse with a design like that on it. I love those. So there's 3 fun new techniques that I haven't shared before. As many 3D videos as I've shared, I have not shared these exact types of techniques before. So hopefully you'll give it all a try and see what you can come up with. Well, this was so much fun, everybody. Now I have some exciting news, and then we're going to give away, you know what I'm going to give away tonight? Anybody who's left is going to be so disappointed because I am going to give away one more bundle from Thursday night. We're sold out, but I have one more bundle here. And I'm going to give it away to somebody. So all you have to do to enter to win is leave a comment. And if you already got this bundle, we're going to send you the equivalent in a gift certificate. So I think this bundle is $59.95, so we'll send you a $60 gift card. How's that for a deal? All right, so go ahead and leave your comments. Throw some emojis. That counts as a comment too, whatever you want. But somebody's going to win all 3 of those 3D embossing folders from Thursday's launch that's already sold out. All right? And while you guys are leaving your comments, if you liked tonight's video, and we sure hope that you have, if you wouldn't mind giving it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and then hit all notifications so you never miss another video. And then if you're not part of our Facebook group, come and join us over in our Facebook group. It's called Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. It's the group with 50,000 plus members, and we're all sharing our cards that we make with Gina K Designs products. So if you're looking for inspiration for your new bundles, people are starting to get them, and they're already starting to share beautiful cards using them. So you'll get lots of ideas if you haven't already gotten a few from me. And then, Brianne Loveland, thank you so much for linking everything. We appreciate you so much. I see you working so hard to help everybody find what they want. But if you missed any of Brianne's links, you can find everything that I used, except this one folder because it is sold out. You can find it all on our website at ginakdesigns.com. But we've got lots of other beautiful 3D embossing folders, so check them all out because you might find some other ones that will be perfect for these techniques. All right, Tom, come on in and let's give away this bundle. And if you already have the bundle, when you reach out to customer service, just tell them that you already have the bundle and you would like the $60 gift card instead. And those gift cards don't expire, so. All right.
Here's a drum roll. Tonight's winner is Paula Sullivan, 7749.
Yay, Paula! Congratulations, you are our winner. So Paula, all you have to do is send your name and email address over to info@ginakdesigns.com. If you want the bundle, also send your mailing address. If you already have the bundle, your email address is enough because we'll send you a $60 gift card that you can use whenever you want. All right, everybody. Well, this was so much fun. Thank you all so much for being with us. I'll be back on Thursday with another Stamp and Chat Live. Oh, and guess what? Tomorrow, Wednesday, our friend Jennifer McGuire is going live, and she's going to be using all Gina K Designs products. So I hope you'll join her over on her YouTube channel. She's got some amazing tips, tricks, and techniques to share with you. I'll be in the chat, and I can't wait to see what she does. And then we'll be back on Thursday with another Stamp and Chat Live. So in the meantime, everybody stay safe, stay very safe in the storms, stay healthy. We love you all so very much, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.